I am Patsy. I'm an interior designer, and I have been one for 25 years.
Wow. So how did you first become interested?
So I had been an interior stage manager, and I moved to North Carolina, and through friends met a person who owned a furniture store, and his family had had it for 105 years. And he was so passionate about it that it really inspired me. And I realized that the principles of design don't change. So I have a master's degree in set and lighting design, or officially it is design and technology for theater is what my MFA is. That's the big name. But the principles, they're the same. How I approach interior design is different than most interior designers. I approach it very much like a set. So if you go to see a show, the set needs to tell you something about the cast, about the characters in it, what's going to happen in the show. I think your home should do the same thing. I think your home should tell people something about you when they come in. And I think the perfect design is when your friends and family come in and say, wow, this looks just like you. We nailed it, whatever that is. But that's a very different approach than most designers use. I have my BFA from Texas Christian. Actually, no, I have a BA. I have to think, it's been a long time. I have a BA from Texas Christian, and I stage managed for a couple years, and then I got my MFA from the University of Missouri in Kansas City, and then worked in that for a long time. And then my interior design training has all been on-the-job training. You need to be personable. You need to be very comfortable going in and talking to people, going into homes with homes you don't know. And that has to be something that you feel very, very confident in. You need to feel comfortable asking people a lot of questions. You can't design a home to reflect someone unless you've learned about them. So I would say personable. Most designers now start in a retail environment as a store designer, and those are normally commission-based jobs. So they would start about $40,000 a year and can go up to, when you're doing something like this where I sell Empire floors, it could be $150,000 to $200,000. So I sell Empire floors part-time, and the other part of my full-time job is doing interior design work. So I work typically 40 hours a week. About 2/3 of that time is spent in people's homes, and about 1/3 of that time is spent either doing the creative process of design or shopping for people, which might be in person or online right now. I probably am in people's homes 2 to 3 different homes a day, and then I'm online shopping for things for maybe an hour a day. Today involved steaming drapes. So it can be a lot of different things depending on what the project is that I'm doing for a client. One of the biggest challenges is my approach to design. And when I was a retail designer, that people think, well, yeah, there's retail designers everywhere. So you really probably don't know anything. You're just a salesperson. And my education really overcame that. As soon as I could say to people, I have a master's in design, that usually answered that. And as soon as I can talk to people and they realize that I'm not going to try to convince them that they have to have some look, or that it has to be, you have to get rid of all your stuff. That is not the designer I am. I want your home to look like you. You need to have your stuff.
And then some benefits that you enjoy in your job.
I love meeting people and hearing their stories. And to help someone express themselves through their home, that's the greatest gift of all. Absolutely, because I set my own schedule. It makes it very adjustable to family life. Either to starting off in a career and having a young family, or as you age into it, dealing with older parents and having different time commitments. I will give you an example of a client I had. I had a woman come in whose husband had died 2 years before. And she had been moved from out living in the country on a lot of land into town, into a small, like a patio home. And I was her third interior designer. I was the third time in 2 years of redoing the living room. And she hated it. And when she came in, she was so disheartened and so sad. And when we got done, she was ready to have people over, and she was so excited because finally the living room looked like her. And the bedroom looked like her and her office did, but her living room hadn't. So to be able to connect with her and create a home that she was in and went, I can be okay here. There's nothing that beats that. It's the best. It has definitely, in the time I've been doing it, gone much more electronic. When I started out, you drew by hand, you drafted it all, and everything was pencil and paper. That was it. Now I measure a room with a laser, and it all puts into a tablet program, and the floor plan's already put in for me. It's a totally different game now. It's much faster. And I think it's going to go more and more into shopping online and more into virtual reality and augmented reality, where I can take a picture and show you what the sofa is going to look like in your room. That's already happened in a lot of it. You can put different fabrics on sofas, but not every manufacturer has that. And I think people are just going to demand more and more of that. Oh. So since I didn't start in the idea of being an interior designer, I would encourage people to go to school. I think in interior design, you can start off with a 2-year degree. You can do an associate's degree to begin with, but then I would encourage people to continue, because there are a lot of associate degree designers. There are not a lot who have gone further. And I think that's where that break comes in, that they talk to you and think, well, you're just a store designer. When you are a retail interior designer, that is not as compatible a job with family, because retail hours are long and hard. And they're weekends, and they're nights, and they're holidays. So that's something to think about. If you want to go out and be an independent designer, you need more education. You need probably to intern with someone who's already a designer. That's a great way to start to get clients and start to know where you're going and all that. And I would encourage someone to take classes on communication, because I think that's a big skill that a lot of designers miss.
Wonderful.